welcome to the stream. I have a lot I want to discuss tonight and not much time to do it. I've only got like 2 hours and 15 minutes. I'm going to let everyone know I am live, and I mean everyone, because anybody that has been following any of my social media knows I got to meet Steve Burns and a bunch of other amazing people at the Missouri Comic Con. And so I want them to feel welcome to come and say hi and ask questions and whatever else whatever else they feel like they need to do or want to do. Hello, Figgy! How are you? Welcome to the stream. So I was gonna let some people kind of flock in. No, I just started. You got here right on time, my friend. I'm gonna let people kind of, flock in. So, I went to the Missouri Comic Con this weekend. Yes, I did. I'm excited, Nintendo Gamer Kid. I am so excited. Okay, so I went to the Missouri Comic Con this weekend. I'm just going to show off the guests and stuff so that you guys can see who was there while we wait for people to file in, because there were a lot of people who were interested in what happened at the Comic Con. As you can see, I had a blast. Oh my gosh. We had Steve Burns, Sean Austin, Gates McFadden, Todd Stashwick, Michelle Hurd, Andy Black, Boo Boo Stewart, Johnny Young Bosch. Yeah, Steve was there. Yeah. Sam J. Jones, Gray Delisle, which if nobody knows who they are, they played Vicky and a person from the Loud House, and they played Sam, and they also played someone from Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, and Daphne apparently, and Elizabeth from Clifford back in the 90s. Billy West, Scott Enos, Irene Bedard, who played Pocahontas in the movie Pocahontas, Erica Harlacher, who, I think I'm saying her name right, played Kyoko and I think Sonia Nevermind in the Danganronpa series Game. And you got Caitlin Glass, who did like Haruhi, in Oron Host Club. And for those of you that are wrestling fans, I didn't get to go see them, but we had Kane and we had Kurt Angle there. We had Michael Golden, Arthur Suidam, I don't know how to say his name, Jeremy Clark, those of you might know him from Power Rangers. And we've got Renee Witterstater. And then these were kind of just other people that were like cosplayers. Bat Out of Hale, Quirky's Pinkling Cosplay, and Little Miss Cosplay. She comes to these every day. Like, she comes to these every time they throw them. So these were all the people that were at the Comic-Con that I got to go to. The only ones I really got to meet was Steve. I got to wave at Sean because his, alright, see you later, Figgy. I got to wave at Sean because his booth was right by Steve's. And, the second day, I was, like, right in the front of the line at Steve's booth. Okay, I appreciate that, Figgy. I really appreciate that. And Sean Austin got there first, and I got to wave at him and scream and holler. It was really cool. My cat is very, clingy today. Come on. Come on. I got to meet Gates McFadden and talk to her for a bit. Her line was fairly empty, so I got to talk to her for a while. Steve Burns, I could have stayed and talked to him forever if his line wasn't so long. He is such a genuinely nice guy and genuinely cares about his fans, and we'll go into that soon. I just want to talk about the guests while people flocked in. Todd Stashwick, for anybody who's Star Trek fans, and then Michelle Hurd. I got to meet them for a second, and I'll show you why in a bit. And then I got to sit in on Andy Black's Q&A because Steve's Q&A was right after Andy Black's Q&A. So I sat in on Andy Black's Q&A so I could be one of the first in lines for Steve's Q&A. I got to sit into Caitlin Glass's Q&A, but they did not let anybody record it. Now they let people record like the Q&As but from Andy Black and Steve and stuff, but they did not let anybody record the Q&As that were not on the main stage, like Caitlin Glass and Irene Bedard and Erica. I'm assuming Gray Delisle, they allowed them to record as well, but I'm not sure. Gray Delisle came in right after Steve, and I decided I didn't really need to do a Q&A with her, because honestly, the only reason I went was to meet Steve. Like, for real. There were a lot of cool people there. Steve and Caitlin are sweet. So sweet. And I got to talk to Caitlin for a little bit. She was just the sweetest thing. Yeah, the person I was the most excited about was Steve Burns, honestly. So, yeah. I think that has given enough time for people to flock in, and so I can start showing some things off and talking a little bit about what all happened. Your sister met Steve? Nice. I think it'd be amazing digital circus. So, I woke up in the morning and had an issue. My wig for my Frisk cosplay was not cooperating whatsoever. And so the pictures I'm about to show you are because my wig was not cooperating whatsoever. And no matter how much I wet it down and how much I combed it the way I wanted it to go, it still wasn't cooperating. It looked so bad. But I still had 3 people ask to take pictures with me in my cosplay, so that was pretty cool. Let's see. So, I have a couple pictures I'm going to show off. Oh, wait, that's scenes, not sources. That's a cute Rowlet in the back. I don't have a Rowlet in the back. Are you talking about... I mean, I don't know what you're talking about. Hey, how are you, Cake H? You haven't gone to any cons as of late? Well, this one had a lot of amazing guests, and I just went and showed the guest list. I'll show it again before I go into, like, the videos and stuff. But first off, I'm going to go into sources, and I'm going to show you the pictures Nano and I took with Steve Burns. So... should be on my desktop. Don't remember what I named it. Is it? Can I preview it before I show it? Okay, I think I'm gonna have to go on Discord. Hello, Ash! Hello, Yubi! Welcome to the stream! So I'm gonna go into Discord real fast. Let me get Discord. Pull up. Actually, I need to look at my desktop. I met Steve Burns. Thanks for watching, everyone. As always, much love. Mwah! Go out there and spread some love and positivity, because you never know who needs it. It is! It is! Hello, Orville! Team Saturday for the win. I don't know yet. I don't know. Okay. I found the image. I named one of them silly, and I named one of them regular, and they are on my desktop. So I'm going to pull them up for you guys and show them to you. This was the image I took with my sister, with Nano. And, okay, I've got 2 images. I need... actually click on it and browse. Okay. So it's me and Nano in this picture. Why isn't it... oh, there it is. Silly. Okay, so this is the silly picture Steve Burns took with us. That is a silly picture Steve Burns took with us. And as you can see, my wig in this picture is a freaking mess. How have you been, Paul? So, like, I don't know how people noticed who I was and were like, oh, I want a picture. You've got such a cute cosplay. But they did. Yes. And then this image is the same one, only this time I'm going to browse and I'm going to get regular. This is the regular picture we took with Steve Burns on the first day. Yeah, that's a wig. That's my wig. Yeah. No, my hair is not that short. You guys know this. So yeah, I was wearing the wig and it wasn't cooperating. So, but yeah. So this is the regular picture we took with Steve Burns. So yeah, so those are pictures I took with Steve Burns. And just so everybody knows, my hair is super long. Thank you for the hugs and the head pats. So just so everybody knows, my hair is super long. So of course, the first thing we did with this amazing guest list, which I'll go back to gameplay again, or I'll go back to where I was of course, we went to meet Steve Burns. Because Nano wanted to get her bag signed, and so he was the first one we met. And oh my god, tomorrow's your birthday. Well, happy birthday, Pink Gotchaberry. He is one of the sweetest guys I have ever met in my life. Like, he genuinely, just a genuinely nice guy. You know, I don't see very many of those. I've not seen very many of those. So when I meet a genuinely nice guy who genuinely seems to care for their fans, I really, really appreciate it. Because I didn't have many of those growing up. Unfortunately. Free mac and cheese for Moose. But, so that's the first person we went to. Nano got her bag signed. I talked to him for a little bit about how I was going to come back tomorrow and get a video with him. Ask him how the videos worked. And he said, you just tell me what you want me to do, and I will do it. So for anybody who has not seen this amazing guest list yet, I named them all off at the beginning of the stream, but I'm pretty sure those of you that are Star Trek nerds, or Black Veil Brides nerds, or Scooby-Doo nerds, or, you know, got Sean Austin here. Yeah. Aw, that's sweet, Moose. Thank you. Some of my favorite cosplays I saw, there was one kid who did he did a Wall-E cosplay, and it was made out of wood, and it literally had a thing so he could steer it around, and he could turn Wall-E's head back and forth. That was one of my favorite cosplays I saw. I saw a Sans cosplay. You're back from dinner. Well, welcome back. That I wanted to take a picture of, but I was in line with Steve, waiting for Steve at the time, and by the time we got done, the person who was playing Sans was gone, and I couldn't find him again. They had a bunch of people that dressed up like Steve. There were a lot of really cute cosplays dressed up like Steve. There was a family that dressed up like all the pirates from One Piece. It was a lot of fun. Ooh, that sounds good. Your sister has also met Steve. So yeah, so anybody who doesn't know, the guest list for Springfield, Missouri Comic-Con was amazing. I'll just scroll down a little bit so you guys can see some of the people that we had there. Wrestling fans. I didn't get to meet Kane, and I didn't get to meet Kurt Angle. I'm sorry. So I can't tell you much about them, but they were there. You got Jeremy Clark, who's done Power Ranger stuff, which I know Orville would be interested in. If Spirit was here, they'd be super interested in the wrestling. You got Caitlin Glass, who did things like Oron High School Host Club. For anybody who's watched Pocahontas, the person that voice acted Pocahontas was there. And then we had some cosplayers. For anybody who's watched any of the old school Nicktoons, like Loud House, Fairly Odd Parents, Danny Phantom. They had Grey Delisle there. And anybody who's seen Back to the Future, they had Billy West. So, yeah. Thursday, we will be playing Splatoon 3. And Johnny Young Bosch was there, so 2 people who did Power Ranger stuff was there. Yep. Yep, there were a lot of amazing, they did a really great job picking out people. This was probably one of the best Comic-Cons I've been at, and I've been to AWA. But this one had the most people I actually wanted to meet. Star Trek fans, I got to meet Gates McFadden, and then I got to take a picture with all 3 of them, which I'll show that off in a minute. So yeah, so this was the Comic-Con guest list. I wish I had Splatoon 3. It's okay, Figgy, no worries. You'll be able to play with us some other time. But yeah. Yeah, Steve is so many people's childhood. You're right, Phantom. And okay, so we're gonna go to this video that he did for me. Real fast before I go back to IRL. And I'm going to explain the video to you so you can kind of understand what was going on in that minute of the video. You only have 948 on your Nintendo games? Okay. So, this video I left totally unedited. I recorded it on my phone and I left it totally unedited. The reason I left it totally unedited, let me make sure it transferred over to, yeah, it did. Okay. Is because I wanted people to see Steve Burns is just a human. And he is very, very sweet, very kind, very genuine. But he's also a little bit socially awkward, which is hilarious. And and I wanted people to see that. So, for anybody who does not know, I went up to Steve Burns. I said, this was the second day of the Comic-Con. I'm like, hey, here, I want you to do a video for me. And he's like, okay. And then, of course, because... just FYI, and I'm putting full screen on this, just FYI, if you ever take a video of somebody that is a celebrity, please ask their permission first before you post it on any kind of social media platform. So I looked up, I went to Steve, I'm like, hey, I paid for a video, I was kind of wanting you to do some words of encouragement for my YouTube, for some of your fans. I'm like, and I also wanted to ask, is it okay if I post it on YouTube? And he sounded so surprised that I actually asked if it was okay if he could post it on YouTube. He's like, no, that's not a big deal at all. Go ahead. Thank you for asking. Like, I guess people don't do that. And I don't understand why. If you're going to see a celebrity and you're going to get their picture or their video taken, you need to ask permission to post it on social media, especially something like YouTube or TikTok, especially when they have, you know, their own identity on those platforms as well, because you don't want them to, you know, look like they're saying, I totally support this person. You know what I mean? You're obsessed with Splatoon 3. Matt Pat retiring is the Generations version, Steve. Nah, definitely not. Nope, definitely not. We just got a letter. Yeah, don't worry. We're going to do that soon, too. Maybe I can get Splatoon 3. Oh, I mean, I'll play playing Splatoon 3 for a while until they make Splatoon 4. So, Luna decided to grace us with her presence for a minute. So let's give Luna her Luna time. Hi, Luna. Yeah. I know. I'm streaming and not paying enough attention to you. Okay, so I'm gonna say that now. He gave me permission to post this on YouTube, okay? He gave me permission via his mouth. If he were to ever email me and be like, you need to take that off my YouTube channel. Same with Anthony Tyler Quinn when I asked him if I could post his cameo on my YouTube channel. If they were to ever email me and say, hey, take it off, I don't want it on there anymore, it would be taken down. Because that is their image, and that is, you know, that is mostly their video when it's showing them. I know. She's been very, very, I never watched Future Hosts on Blue's Clues. Steve Burns was my childhood. Yeah, same here. But comparing him to, yeah, that's definitely not even close. No, he does not have the same energy as Steve leaving at all. At all. So, oh, you know what? I forgot to actually pull up another video. We'll do that soon. So anyway, we're going to watch this video, and I'm going to pause it and kind of explain what's going on as we watch it. Oh, I already put the desktop on. So, here we go. So, as you can see, it's me and Nano. I had just told Steve, hey, can you do a video spreading words of encouragement to my YouTube audience? Am I allowed to post it on YouTube? And he said, yes, you're allowed to post it on YouTube. And then he's like, what age is your audience? And I said, they're 15 and up. He genuinely looked worried. Like, 50 and up? Because, you know, you look at me, I look like I'm like 22 or something. So, like, he genuinely looked worried. And I'm like, no, 15 and up. He's like, oh, okay. Like, he was like, oh, thank goodness. Shoo. You know, it's not 50-year-olds watching this young person. Yeah. I liked both. Well, I will tell you this. Steve has said no Joe bashing. He said it in his Q&A, and I'm going to tell you no Joe bashing. Because you know what? Steve is the one who picked out both Joe and Josh, who's in the reboot of Blue's Clues. And he's written it and everything. So yeah, so after this, I was like, all right, we're going to get started. Are you ready? You know, I was like making sure he was ready. Yeah. Don't look a day over 95. He's like, yeah, I'm ready. I'm fine. Okay. So here we go. And I'll explain some things. Just, I'm petting her while she's meowing and holding on to her. And I'll explain some things, and I'll tell you why certain things happen the way they did here. Hi guys, it's Pegasusangel and Nano here, and today we are here with Steve, and he's going to give some words of encouragement to everybody. So, okay, why did Nano laugh like that right there? Why did Nano laugh like that right there? And me, I was trying not to laugh because I saw it too. Basically, when I looked over at Steve and said, oh, he's going to give some words of encouragement to everybody, the look on his face was like, oh, what do I say? What do I do? You know, and I had to tell him before I started recording, because he was like, I just don't understand what you want. And I'm like, here's what I want. I want you to be you. I want you to be Steve. That's it. That's all I want. And so, yeah, that's why Nano started cracking up there. Do you have mouse cursor? I don't know what you mean. Yeah, I have a mouse cursor. That's a Pegasus. That's why Nano's cracking up right there. That's why I'm trying to keep my cool, because I didn't want him to know I saw the look on his face. I didn't want to embarrass him. Here you go.
Oh, hey everybody. Where's the camera? Is it right there?
The camera's right there.
Hi.
So, that right there, I left that in because I wanted to show people, hey, look, he's a human just like us, you know. He's doing what he can. And yeah, it definitely surprised him when I handed the phone over. I think he thought there was going to be a longer intro than that. But there wasn't. Yeah, I've got her. Don't worry. I'm petting her. Trust me. So yeah, and those of you who haven't seen this yet, it's on my channel. Make sure you leave a like, comment if you want, and I can answer some more questions. But the best thing about this is I can kind of explain things to you as they went down, which is why I like doing this live. Okay, so
It's me, Steve, from Blue's Clues. I just got old, but that's me. I don't know exactly how to be encouraging because I don't know exactly what everyone's going through, but I can say that you look great and that if you made it this far, you're doing something right. And I hope you all have a great day, and I hope you all have a great 2024.
Yeah, and that, I was so glad, because I forgot to tell him, hey, make sure you say, hey, you look great, and if you're still here, you're doing all right. I didn't tell him to do that. I just told him to be himself, Steve. And you know what? After the initial shock of me handing the camera over, he was fine. He's definitely not one. I don't think he does improv very often. So, yeah, I was really like, so the next part, that you'll see, I left in also just to remind people, hey, look, this is a human just like us. Genuinely nice guy, really sweet guy. If there wasn't a line, I could have talked to him for hours, not even lying. So here we go.
How'd I do?
Amazing. Amazing. And so I love that he asked, how did I do? And I left it in because I'm like, you know what? They need to realize he's a human, you know? Because a lot of y'all, you know, you grow up with this. You know, you grow up with Steve from Blue's Clues and you look at him and you idolize him and all this stuff. And I saw a lot of people when they went to his booth, which for some reason I don't do this, but I saw a lot of people. If he wasn't human, did they think he was a fork? No, but they definitely thought he was a god almost. Like, there were people that came up to his booth and they were crying when they came up to his booth. There were people that could barely get any words out because they were so excited to see him. And it's because he is such a big part of people's childhood. And he did make such a difference in the world of children's television. And we're going to go to the Q&A in a little bit that got recorded. And I'll let you listen to some of the answers to some of the questions he got asked. Yeah, he's so sweet. He is so sweet. And that's what the special surprise video was, guys. Much love, everybody. And I will see you guys hopefully on Monday. Thank you. So yeah, as you heard, Nano was saying thank you. I said thank you after Nano did, after I shut the thing off. I shut the camera off and I said thank you. And then I looked at Steve. Let me get IRL back on. There's a lot of transitionings in this stream today. Yeah, no, just when you meet them, just remember they're a person just like you. And that's when they will... Obviously, there's so many actors out there that are so sweet. And it was exciting to meet him. It was very exciting to meet him. I don't know what it is about me, but I've always been really good at approaching celebrities, even ones I look at as heroes, in a way where I just treat them like I know them and they're my friend and that I know they're human, you know. But I have a dog. Hello, Oddball! I'm doing well. How are you? So, basically, after that video, I looked at Steve and I'm like, you're gonna make me cry because it was so sweet, you know? I wanted him to know that it really made a difference. And then I asked him, hey, is it okay if I give you a hug? Always, always, always. Do not just, please, if you go to a Comic-Con and meet an actor, there are 3 things you should always ask. If you decide to take a picture, ask if you're allowed to post it on social media. If you decide to do a video, ask them if you're allowed to post it on social media. And if you want to hug or, you know, have any kind of physical contact with that actor, ask them permission before you do. Luna, honey. So I asked him, I'm like, can I have a hug? You know, and he's like, well, I don't really do hugs because I've been getting sick. And I'm like, I totally understand that. I'm like, so what about a fist bump? And he gave both me and Nano a fist bump. It was the sweetest thing. And I told him again, thank you so much. And I appreciated him and we walked off. Yep, Luna is talking to us. There is one video I need to pull up still. Let me get it pulled up here. That really made a difference to me. Okay. Okay. Alright, so here's one that made a difference to me. And if you guys are enjoying this, please, please feel free to hit the like button. So I put one up here because I'm about to show off my pictures. And before I show off my pictures, I want to show you something. Oh, what is wrong here? Okay, there we go. Is it showing up? Yeah, okay. So this is the video he posted for the 25th anniversary of Blue's Clues after we found out that it was going to get a reboot, okay? And this video meant the world to me. I don't know what team I'll be because unfortunately, I don't. If the Splatfest is this weekend, I'm not going to be able to play it. We have my uncle's celebration of life ceremony this weekend. For those of you who don't know, I had an uncle just recently pass away from cancer. He had been struggling with cancer for 16 years. And he passed away last Tuesday. And I found out at 5 o'clock, like an hour before I had to do my, like, wake up the kids and do my job. And so I didn't really have time to process it and had to kind of go home after work and just chill, which is why I didn't stream Tuesday. If you see with me and my anxiety, I feel like if I met an actor, I feel like I would embarrass myself. As it's okay, oddball. I'm all right. I'm all right. It was a little bit of a shock because he had been sitting in a recliner looking fine on Friday, and then we found out that he passed away on Monday night at 9 p.m. But we didn't find out till 5 o'clock on Tuesday because my aunt missed the call, unfortunately. And you know what? Actors know that, Orville, and they understand that. They get that. Trust me. They see it. They've seen it all. Trust me. We're going to be going to this Comic-Con 24 Q&A pretty soon, and you'll hear some really good questions about things. I did see the 2 new things Nintendo posted. I'm super excited. All right, so here we go. So for anybody who's not seen this video meant a lot to me. So let me just give you a little bit of backstory before I delve into the video. For those of you who don't know, when Blue's Clues came out in 96, I think I was 10 years old. Steve went off to college when I was 15 or 16. I stopped watching Blue's Clues after Steve went off to college. When I was 10 years old, that was the same year that my grandma just up and disappeared, and then we didn't hear from her again for like 16 years. And so the reason this video meant so much to me, and I even told Steve this, I'm like, that video meant a lot to me. And I was like, it really meant a lot to me. He's like, I didn't mean to make you guys feel abandoned or anything. I'm like, he was like, I was always part of the show. I'm like, no, I didn't feel abandoned. It meant a lot to me. And I explained to him, hey, like my grandma, she just up and disappeared one day when I was 10. And seeing someone make a video where they're like, hey, I'm sorry I did this, really meant the world to me. Because he was still a part of the writing crew and everything. He just didn't want to be on camera anymore. Which, I don't blame him. I don't blame him at all. Your mouse cursor is a dog. Yeah, my grandma disappeared when I was 10. We didn't hear from her again until about 16 years later. And then she died 2 years after we found out about her, where she was. So, yeah. It was like she died when I was 10, and then she came back when I was in my 20s, and I had to leave work that day when I found out. And then she died again when she actually died of a heart attack. So, yeah, I have a lot of backstory and stuff. I don't like to go into it much, but I wanted to give context for why this video meant so much to me. Because it shows an adult taking accountability for their actions of just up and leaving and being really sorry about it. And it just shows what a real adult should do, what a real, genuine adult should have done, unlike what my grandma did, where she basically just said, how dare you try to find me, and sent everybody an angry email. Yeah, he left because he was tired of being on camera. He was more into the writing and directing and his music, which he'll talk about in the Q&A a bit. But yeah, also because he was balding. But here we go. So, let's go into this video. And then I'll show off some of the pictures I got, okay? Will you be streaming it? I probably will be streaming Side Order, but I'm gonna have to finish the single player mode first. So that may be something we'll have to work on in the next couple weeks.
Hi. You got a second? Okay. You remember how when we were younger we used to run around and hang out with Blue and find clues and talk to Mr. Salt, freak out about the mail and do all the fun stuff. And then one day I was like, oh hey, guess what? Big news. I'm leaving.
This video still makes me want to cry every time I watch it because, you know, it had such an impact on me when he posted it.
This is my brother Joe. He's your new best friend. And then I got on a bus and I left.
Yeah.
And we didn't see each other for like a really long time.
Yeah.
Can we just talk about that?
Please.
Great. Because I realized that was kind of abrupt. I just kind of got up and went to college. And that was really challenging, by the way.
I bet.
Great, because I got to use my mind and take a step at a time, and now I literally am doing many of the things that I wanted to do. And then look at you, and look at all you have done, and all you have accomplished in all that time.
I love this
And
video so much.
It's just so amazing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we started out with clues, and now it's what? Student loans.
Yeah.
And jobs.
Yep.
And families.
Nope.
And some of it has been kind of hard. You know?
It is very hard.
And I wanted to tell you that I really couldn't have done all of that without your help.
Thank you,
And
Steve.
in fact, all the help that you helped me with when we were younger is still helping me today, right now. And that's super cool. I guess I just wanted to say that after all these years, I never forgot you. Ever. And I'm super glad we're still friends.
I've been watching that so long because it brings me to
You
tears.
look great, by the way.
Every time I
Whatever
watch
it is
it.
you're doing, it's working.
So yeah.
Hello, I'm Mark Brown.
Oh, shut up, Mark Brown. I don't care about you. All I care about is Steve. So yeah, there's some tears in my eyes. I didn't watch that very much because every time I watched it, I would end up crying. So yeah. I'm not crying, you're crying. I definitely am a little bit tearing up. You got a shiny Pommy? Congratulations. I'm doing great, Screech. I've been talking about my Comic-Con adventure at Missouri Comic-Con in Springfield, Missouri. Okay, so I gotta do it. You know I gotta do it. Yes, he has returned for the reboot. He is in the movie and he is in some of the shows of the reboot. I would 100% recommend watching the movie Blue's Big New York Adventure before you start watching the rebooted Blue's Clues, though. I never watched Blue's Clues, but I legit felt that vid. I mean, as a kid, he just goes off to college, and you know, you think, oh, he'll be back, but then you find out that he's never coming back. He doesn't ever come back. No, you need to have Paramount for Blue's Clues. And also you can do Prime and get up to the first 5 seasons of the new Blue's Clues for free. The movie is also on Paramount. So anyway, you know I gotta do it. We just got a letter. We just got a letter. We just got a letter. Wonder who it's from. It's a letter from our friend, Steve. Here's another letter from our friend. Oh my gosh, the glare because of the Caitlin Glass because of the photo covers is ridiculous. Oh, what's this letter? Oh, this is an exciting letter for Star Trek fans. Can't see me. I gotta pull back. And then I have one more letter. It's got a it's got a special message on it, so I'm hiding the message. From Pocahontas. The voice actor of Pocahontas. Those were my letters. That was my autograph and photo opportunity haul. I was really sad when because I got to meet them for just a brief second for this. This is like a professional photo you have to pay for in advance. And I was really sad because after Steve's Q&A, I was actually going to go get them to all three autograph this and talk to them, because the only one I actually got to talk to was Gates McFadden. I didn't really get to talk to Michelle Hurd or Todd. And Michelle Hurd was such a sweetheart when we went in to get our picture taken. Like, she was just so open and like, hi guys, come on in. And she like put her arm around me, and it was so sweet. Pocahontas was a good Disney movie. I agree. 100%. So that was the thing. Whenever I talked to Steve about how much this video meant to me and why I liked this picture, as you can see, he signed it, Love Steve. Oh, I love Steve. And then you've got a blue paw print. That was the first day we went to see him that I told him about this, and the second day I actually bought the print. So yeah. It was better than Beauty and the Beast? I don't know. I liked Beauty and the Beast. I mean, Pocahontas was good. I was more of a tomboy and into things like The Lion King and Tarzan and Peter Pan. I wasn't into the girly movies like Little Mermaid and Beauty and the Beast much back when I was a kid. I was getting my second slice of pizza. It's okay. All right, so now we're going to go in and I'm going to find some questions in the question and answers. And I've already messaged. Peter Pan was my childhood. Yes. What do you want to tell them about Steve, Luna, even though you didn't meet him? Tell him. Yeah? Oh, yeah? Yeah, Steve has a dog. Okay. There we go. She got to speak. There you go. So anyway, we're going to go into the Q&A. And if you guys have any questions at all about my Comic-Con experience, feel free to let me know. Captain Shaw got done dirty. At my grandma's because I couldn't sleep. I understand that. I totally get that. So there is something on here I totally didn't agree with, and it wasn't on Steve's side. I'm not going to talk about whose side it was on, but I did actually email Missouri Comic Con afterwards and be like, hey, this shouldn't have happened. So, and also, it wasn't the fans' fault or anything. It was the person running the panel's fault. It shouldn't have happened. Your dog is in heat. Ooh, yuck. All right, so let's just start watching this Q&A real fast.
Steve Burns! All the hits here in Springfield. You're only 16? Yeah. So, like, he wasn't even humble this quick when you were born.
Okay, so I get bringing her up to talk to Steve. There were people standing in line behind the microphone. All right, so she's talking to this dude. And I just want you to notice what happens, okay? pay attention to Steve's body language and everything. What, oddball? It's something that I feel I actually emailed Missouri Comic Con about. I was like, I don't want Steve to not feel comfortable coming back to Springfield, Missouri. And I was worried that he might after this happened. So, and it's not, like I said, it's not the fans' fault and it's not Steve's fault. I feel like the person running the panel should have known better, but I don't know what the deal was or what deals were made before or anything like that. Maybe it was supposed to be this way the whole time and they were just acting like it wasn't. I don't know. You got an expansion pass? Heck yes. Okay.
Until we saw all of Steve's seasons, because we were like, no, we gotta give you a proper backstory. And so they gave, because I was born in 2007, but that was the year that they transitioned. So they were like, we gotta give you someone who's silly, but still
Like, she's totally ignoring him here, and he's like, why isn't she talking to me?
What's your name?
I'm Kai.
I'm Steve. It's nice to meet you.
See how excited some people get to meet him? He's like the Mr. Rogers of Nickelodeon, guys. You cannot say that this is anything compared to Matt Pat. We have to put my dog in a diaper. Yeah, we don't need to talk about dogs' periods. Most people, I think, know about dogs' periods, but let's not talk about it in chat. That's just kind of gross, you know? I know that when dogs are in heat, they have a period. Yay, that's awesome. Yeah, he's like Mr. Rogers Evolved. So, like, you could tell she's really, really excited, all right? That he actually acknowledged her and said, hey, what's your name? Because she wasn't even talking to him. Like, you could just tell he was like, this girl is dressed up like Blue, talking about how much she loves my show, and she isn't even telling me her name. And then, you know, he interrupted her finally when she stopped talking and was like, hi, what's your name? You know, which I felt like was so sweet. So then, like, I don't want to get anybody in trouble, but this right here was something that should not have happened. Yeah, see, I don't think so, because honestly, I have way more respect for Steve than I ever did Matt Pat. Now, maybe if you looked up to Matt Pat as a hero like I looked up to Steve as a hero, maybe. But anyway, so, you know, she's sitting down here now.
I love that man. He's one of my best friends, and he's like.
Oh, yeah, this is where he basically says...
You always, like, when you had the 3 clues, you'd always be like, oh, it's this. But it was a joke. Like, in Blue's Clues musical movie, you were like, I don't know. Maybe it's me.
Well, yeah, I mean, that was the whole idea. The whole idea was that you were smarter than me, that I needed your help. Right? That was, at least that's what I was going for. But I want to get one thing straight, there will be no Joe bashing.
Amen.
I love that man. He's one of my best friends, and he's like a brother. So.
I mean, he is your brother.
He's my cousin.
Josh is his cousin. So yeah, so now something happens that I don't feel like should have happened at all. Look at Steve here. Look at him shaking his head trying to get the attention of this dude. And then the look on his face whenever the guy didn't notice.
That man, he's one of my best friends, and he's like a brother. So.
That is a security risk, and that should not have happened.
Josh is my cousin. I forget.
Watch him. No, no. And then she sits down, and the look on his face is just pure awkward. I know. I messaged Missouri Comic Con. I let them know, hey, this is what happened. I don't want to get people in trouble. This guy was a nice guy. He really was. It's just, you cannot be doing that at a con. And then not only did he do that, but he let her stay up there the whole Q&A. And so I was like, I really don't want Steve not to feel comfortable coming back. I don't feel like this was right. And I'm sure I'm not the only one who emailed the Comic-Con about it. Like, because number one, yeah, I know she is. She's in my lap being pet. Number one, it's very obvious. Steve didn't want it. Like, he was shaking his head, no, no, trying to get the attention of the person in the panel. No, don't let her on stage. Like, don't let her be on stage. And then what that did was, yeah, what that did was put him at a security risk. And not only that, but it put him in an awkward situation because he's a genuinely nice guy. And he is such a nice guy that even though you could tell he didn't like it, he didn't want to let her down. You know what I mean? But then that also did something that I feel so bad for the 16-year-old, because what this guy did caused any of the moms and kids in the audience that are like really, really big Steve fans to be jealous of this 16-year-old. And so that put her security at risk too. And it just was not okay at all, period. I did not appreciate it, and I have emailed the Comic-Con about that, and I hope other people have too. And I hope Steve had like a survey after the Comic-Con and he said something about that, because that is not how Q&As at cons are supposed to be ran. Period. Yeah. Yeah, she's in heat, just like your dog. So anyway. So then there was someone that asked their first question, and this is really interesting. So for anybody who wants to know, early days of Blue's Clues is pretty interesting. So here's the question I was really liked. It is a cool cosplay. She does have a cool cosplay. It's just, this guy not only put Steve's life, like, security at risk, but also her security at risk. And, you know, all the people that stand them, or stand Steve, probably hated her after this Q&A. And I feel so bad that that was the way it was, because that's not fair for her. She was a sweet girl. She really was. All right, so here we go. We're going to the first question because it's really interesting.
Look at Stephen Blue. Marka, you're up.
Okay, so
Tell me your name. No, I know your name, but tell everybody your name.
my name is Hannah. It's nice to see you again, Steve.
Hannah made that sweater. Isn't that cool? That's awesome.
So this girl knitted this sweater, and listen to what she says.
I literally had it at the panel too yesterday, and I was like frantically crocheting. Like, I've got to finish this.
That was you!
That's me! I was crocheting at all the panels that I was at. So I finished this last night at like 1 o'clock in the morning. It was wild. But my question is for you.
Here we go.
How did they like indicate to you like, oh, this is where you're supposed to talk? Because you know, like most of the characters you talked to were animated. So like, how did they do that for you? And like, were you talking to a person? And like, which character was your favorite to interact with?
Okay, so this came out in 96, and what you're about to hear is something freaking crazy on how they made Blue's Clues work. So be ready, it was on a low budget at first. This is really interesting. This is why I'm pulling this question up.
Excellent question. Well, first of all, Blue's Clues, when I did it back in the day, was on a blue screen, right? Because my shirt was green. So I had nothing to interact with. Literally nothing.
There's the full Q&A for anybody who wants to see it later.
And there were no corners in the room. It was like this cool, what we call a cove. So it was like curved. So imagine being in a room that's all painted blue, exactly the same color blue with no corners. You couldn't even discern spatially where you were. It was very disorienting. And we had no money at all. seasons of that show. I mean, like, we were doing it on desktop Macintosh. Like, it was just as cheap as you could possibly imagine. So I wasn't talking to another actor. I was talking to like a PA. It was like, it's over there, Steve.
So literally, he was in a blue room, and he had a PEA telling him where to go. There were no actors with him at all in 96. He was just in this blue cove room, nothing except a blue screen because he wore a green shirt, and so they couldn't do a green screen. And, well, I agree, Orville, on that, but now I'm talking about some of the good questions that were asked. And so it's like they were talking on a PA and stuff to tell him where he needed to go. And let's continue this because he continues to go on, and it's really interesting to hear how this whole thing panned out. As you heard, they did it on computer and Macintosh. There was not a big budget, and so they did the animations and everything on a computer and a Macintosh after he recorded his lines, like after he recorded his part of the show.
And you see, like, when you see how they make Star Wars and stuff, right? They have people dressed in green suits, and they have like sticks with tennis balls on them.
You're right, Jevel. It did. It worked amazingly. Like, in 96, that stuff was like brand new technology. And so they were literally figuring it out as they went. He'll talk about that too. Yeah, it is amazing how they were able to pull the show in 96.
And stuff to help out the actors who are working on a green screen. I had none of that. And so I have to run around like a crazy person in this, like at the bottom of the swimming pool, is what I felt like, with no way to discern where I was in space. And then run up to the camera and be like, do you know? And if I was here, it was correct. And if I was here, it was wrong.
So, as you can see, that was crazy. So he had to do a lot of retakes because there would be times when he would get where he would be standing in the wrong spot looking at the camera. Do you know? It's crazy. She's actually 9 years old, I think. She's born in 2015. And I didn't have the money to get her fixed when she was younger, so I just have her in heat the whole time now, whenever she goes into heat.
I have to do it again, because they were trying to work backwards into animation that they were going to do later. So we eventually got wicked good at it, like in a matrixy kind of strange way. We just got good at it. But for the first couple seasons, it was really hard, and not just for me. I think it was probably hardest for me, but it was also difficult for the director and for any of us to just figure out what the heck we were doing. Now, by the time we did the reboot recently with Josh, his life is so ridiculously easy.
So now he's talking about the reboot with Josh. So as you just heard, I know it's kind of hard to hear and the captions don't pick up everything, but he basically just said that after he recorded his parts, they used a computer and a Macintosh to work the animation in backwards. Yeah, and he didn't have anything to indicate where he needed to look or anything like that. He had nothing. It was just him alone in this blue room with a PA telling him where to go, where to stand, all that stuff. In a minute, he's going to talk about who his favorite character was, and he's going to say some pretty funny things. And so I will, I really felt like this was one of the best questions they asked at the Comic-Con, 100%. So that's why I'm doing it. That's why I'm showing it, because I really felt like it was a good question. Yeah, no, I get it. They used a computer and a Macintosh. A Macintosh computer.
He has like people in green suits, and everyone's like, look at this object, it's blue, and it's like a cutout of exactly blue. Like, how does he get that? Couldn't I have that? You know? But the technology is advanced, and there's a lot more money on the show now, so Josh's life is easy. Joe's life was harder, and mine was the hardest.
So basically, he just said Joe's life was harder, but mine was the hardest, because when he started, they were trying to figure out how they were going to do this show. And the person that came up with the idea for the show was actually a woman. And he talks about that in the Q&A too, but I'm not going to go to that part. But she was actually a woman, and she had this show in mind, and she had to get it out there. And she got it out there. And it made the difference that I hope she was wanting.
Thank you. I think I answered your question, right?
Yeah, I was going to say, did you have a favorite character that you liked to interact with?
Yeah, I liked, my favorite character on the show was Mr. Salt. Just because the guy who did his voice was also one of the guys who did all the music for the show. And he's just such a sweet guy. His name is Nick Balaban, and he talks like this. And he called me Steve.
Steve.
And he is so funny. And I used to watch him record, and the outtakes of Mr. Salt were hilarious. He was always like, Steve, what is wrong with you? Can you not see the clue, you mad child? Like, hilarious stuff. I think I just adored that person so much. But as a character, I really liked Side Table Drawer. Yeah, because like she was shy, right? That was her whole thing. And the whole idea is that she needed to open up.
So he throws a lot of words of wisdom in here, which I really appreciate. You know, but they're not really words of wisdom. They're metaphorical words of wisdom. And you know if you're like that. And you just, you know, you feel it when he says it if you're like that. But, yeah, basically, the guy that played Mr. Salt, I guess, was making fun of Steve all the time. And being like, how can you not see the clue, you man-child? And Steve really enjoyed listening to the outtakes of that, which I can see why. That would be pretty funny. I'm not gonna lie. You have a friend named Nick? Nice. You love salt and pepper? So now they've got salt, pepper, paprika, which we saw happen when Steve was on the show. Cinnamon, I think, is the brother, and then Salt and Pepper had twins, but I can't remember what they are. Speaking of Salt and Pepper, I'm going to try to find something really funny. Let's see. Okay, so Blue's Clues. Alright, I'm trying to find it. So he started Blue's Clues when he was a sophomore in college. Someone asked a hilarious question. Alright, see you later, Oddball. And I gotta find it. I gotta find this hilarious question. I wish I could find this guy's question. Might be this dude.
I love this band from Iceland called Sigur Rós. I don't know if you know that band.
Okay, so that guy was asking about music. I'm trying to find it. Because somebody actually asked the question.
Yeah, you said, you know, did I go to college? No. Did I die? No.
Somebody literally asked the question, how do salt and pepper make paprika? And I'm trying to find it because he had such a good response. Ah, thank you, Freddie. Good to see you. I'm trying to find it because he had such a good response, but I was stupid and I didn't write down any timestamps. Okay, I think this is it. I think we're close to it.
And live in New York City. You know what I mean? So people say to me, "Oh, your career at Blues Clues." I was like, "No, that's what I was doing while I was."
Yeah, I agree. It is weird seeing her the whole time on the stage.
A voiceover guy first in some ways. So I hope that answers your question.
Good question.
It does. Also, too, what is your...
Hold on a second. We need to get through the line. I appreciate your questions. I really do. But if you have follow-up questions, maybe do it over there at the table so we can get through as many people as we can.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah, that's okay. Thanks, Steve.
Yep. You got it.
Clear answers too, that's all.
Hi, Steve. My name is Christian.
I wanted to ask you, you talked about wanting to keep the conversation going with the me that is us. As
Okay, where did this kid ask this? Oh, here you go.
First off, I want you to know, I never thought you had died, but I did think that you went off to college at the end of Blue's Clues until I was like 15.
Yeah, I agree. It is very
I don't know if that was,
inappropriate.
like, the actual reality, but I said that in passing to my mom, and she was like, wait. You realize that Steve was like an adult?
Yeah, I won't be live tomorrow, but thank you for the early happy video, or happy Valentine's
Well,
Day.
yeah, but he could have gone to college. So that's the one that I was bought into. My question is, you know, it feels like a couple of years ago you kind of started leaning towards making more content related to Steve and like the audience that I'm in, like the people who grew up with your era of Blues Clues. So what kind of brought you back into doing that? What kind of like got your attention to kind of coming back and making those very awesome videos of you kind of interacting with the you that is us, you know?
So yeah, so this girl asks the question, and this is where he talks about why he stopped being on the show. Don't mistake of abbreviating Valentine's Day saying Happy VD. Me, oh gosh, no! We are watching Steve Burns. Don't you dare, Moose. Don't you dare.
Susanna.
Susanna, what?
Susanna, like
Susanna.
Sandra Wayne.
Oh, Susanna. What did you say? The you that is us?
Yes.
Oh, I'm using that. That's
So he really liked her quote, which I think was a really good quote as well. Yes, how dare you take us to After Dark when we're watching Steve Burns? You have to just keep your eyes peeled. You just look up Comic-Cons in your area. Like, if you live in Missouri, look up Comic-Cons in Missouri. And it should tell you where it will show you the Comic-Cons and the guests and everything. But you'll want to buy your tickets in advance. Like, at least 2 weeks in advance, especially for bigger Comic-Cons. I was really surprised I was able to get a weekend pass for this Comic-Con because I didn't get to buy it till the Thursday before. Or the Wednesday before. Well, it was just this one dude. Missouri Comic-Con did a great job. It was just this one dude letting someone on stage. But they did a great job. They got a lot of good people. It's just that this right here is what's going to cause people not to want to come back. Make sure yours says that under the stream. Yeah, don't forget, yeah, this panel MC definitely needed to do better. I'll be live again on Thursday. Because Friday, I'm going to be going to where my uncle's celebration of life ceremony is.
Yeah, that's beautifully said. said, what made me start talking to the you that is us?
Yes.
Well, oh yeah, you said, you know, did I go to college? No. Did I die? No. But I also never really left the show. I was always involved. Like I helped find Joe. For the reboot, I write, direct, produce. Like I'm all over that thing. You know, yeah. So like I personally didn't feel super removed from Blue's Clues. I just felt like I don't want to be on TV ever again. You know what I mean? So I didn't feel. It didn't feel to me as much as I had left as it did to me. You know what I mean? So when Blue's Clues turned 25, we're doing a lot of press and stuff about that.
Yeah, that's the video I showed you that he did. Yeah, I mean, I think the teenager knows that this is not like, she probably thought maybe for one question, but this guy's having her run the whole entire thing.
And they asked me to direct a music video, and I was directing a music video with the other two hosts that Beastie Boys.
For those of you who don't know what that musical video was, it was Blue's Clues and You, which I could probably find really easy in a minute for you.
And they were like, will you don the stripes again and do a shout out?
Oh.
And I was like, ooh, hold my beer. Because I immediately thought, like, I don't want to talk to the kids. I don't want to talk to Josh's fans. They don't know who I am. They don't care. You know, they're to Josh. It's like, I want to talk to my friend. You know?
We love you too.
Yeah. But that's what I wanted to do. Like, no, I want to continue the conversation. Right? Because back in the day, we would talk about important things like shapes and colors and which of these snacks is a graham cracker.
So important. So important. I will say this. If you do get on Paramount Plus, they do have all the Blue's Clues season episodes from '96. And the very first episode of the Blue's Clues starring Steve is a snack episode. And then when they rebooted it and they did Josh's first episode, because I watched it the other day, he also had a snack episode. That was pretty similar to Steve's. But it was like Steve was trying to get the kids reacquainted with it because, I mean, the show literally went off the air in 2007 and then didn't get back on the air till 2017. So 10 years later, you know. Yes, there is a movie called Blue's Big New York City Adventure, and that's where they introduce Josh and stuff like that. I would say watch that movie before you watch any of the rebooted season, just so you can kind of know who Josh is. Also, in that movie, there's a really sweet little place where Steve is actually talking to his older fans, and it's really sweet. You used to have the thinking chair? Heck yes.
But we did that with respect, and we did that I tried to do that as sincerely as possible, and though it was wacky and strange, I wanted it to feel real, and with as much respect as I could. I said, why can't we just do that now? Why can't we just keep doing that? And I didn't write that thing, I just went out and did it. Right? I jotted down a couple bullet points and I pulled my producer aside and said, Siobhan, what do you think? Can I do this? You know, is this going to be weird? And she's like, just go out there and talk.
Yes, that's the one where Blue's Clues goes to the real world, where you see them in New York. And it's a really good movie. I highly recommend it. It's so good.
To your friend. And I was like, yeah. And that's just what came out. Right? We did 2 takes of that video thing. The first one I cried. So the second one, the whole crew cried. was a very simple impulse. It was just I wanted to talk to y'all again, check in, and say what's up. And the fact that there was such a response to it means cool stuff. Think about it. We are still able to have what approaches a real relationship through television, the phone, media.
Sorry.
That's significant, right? We used, in that moment, social media to have a respectful, care-driven conversation.
So he literally went out, wrote some bullet points down, and improvised that video that I showed you earlier. Which is freaking crazy. That's amazing and awesome. I wish I could find the person who asked him how salt and pepper made paprika. Can it just be holding? Let's see. And then he talked about some of his favorite music. About how he likes music that helps bring out feelings. Which really, really helps me because I am not good at, you know, anytime I have really big feelings, I am not good at dealing with them. Luna is adorable. For anybody who's been on my DID living, yeah, I'm petting you, I know. DID living YouTube channel, you will know that I am very disconnected from my feelings, and the only time anybody actually feels feelings is when one of my other personalities is out. Come on, sit on my lap, you little baby butt. Little baby butt. It's okay, honey. She is adorable. I love my Luna. You saw her tail whack. She saw... Oh, geez. I just, like, hit my microphone. She saw some birds outside the window this morning, and she was just sitting there doing the little chirpy thing and slapping her tail. It was adorable. Okay. Let me see if I can find another thing that really actually freaked everybody out, I think. Luna equals best co-host ever, for sure. Another thing that really actually freaked everybody out, because the guy, you know, he was like, we need to rush this. It's getting too long. We got to get it, because the Q&A only lasted an hour. So around this time, they were trying to they were working on trying to end the Q&A. So I was standing in line behind like two other people. Like I was gonna be up to the mic pretty quick. And this guy grabs a chair, and I didn't think anything of it. I just thought, oh, he's probably just got something to lean on because his feet are hurting. Because we've been standing in line for an hour. But then, oh, I think I found it. Okay. Let's see.
Happened before, so I think that was my job to do that, and I guess it worked. But I think a lot of it is the breakthrough nature of the show.
Okay, so now we're going After Dark for Moose here. Are you ready, Moose, for After Dark?
So by the time the other guys came around, it wasn't quite as unique. I will say that. What else did you say to me, Nick?
Grown adults cry.
Yes,
when they
all
get
the
you.
time. All the time. And does that ever get normal? Nope.
Grown adults cry when they see him almost every time.
It's very difficult for me, you know, to throw my arms around the impact that show may have had. Like that's very difficult. I think I'm older than you, but we're older than them. So we have kids TV shows that we grew up on, and the kids shows that I grew up on were so important to me. To think that I am that show for Nick is crazy. To think that I might be someone's Grover is like not something that my brain can readily process. Every now and then you get a whiff of it, but it's not something I can hold on a daily basis. And when people come up to me and cry and say how important Blue's Clues was to them, I do immediately think of everyone else who helped make that show. I do, and I wish they were there with me so that they could also feel that love. But no, it never gets normal, and it always feels special, and I'm always willing to listen. So.
Aww. So yeah, so that was the thing about how people react when they see him. A lot of times they end up crying when they see him, and they tell him why it had an impact on their life, and he listens. And I'm not even kidding. He listened to my whole story about my grandma, and he was like, I am so sorry if you felt abandoned. I'm like, no, I didn't feel abandoned. I appreciated that you came back and you stated that you knew that that was not okay, that you just disappeared one day. It's like, my grandma never did that. And he did. He listened. He listened. So now we're about to get into After Dark mode just for Moose here, which will be fun. Here we go. But Blue's Clues is my favorite Nickelodeon show besides SpongeBob. Yeah. I've heard good things about Gravity Falls.
Hello, my name is Lathan, and I was wondering, how does salt and pepper make paprika?
There we go. Best question of the night. How does salt and pepper make paprika? For real. So, get ready to have your mind blown, guys. Like, I'm not even kidding. And the way he said this, it was so amazing how he put it. So, read the captions, and then, of course, I've pinned the link to the Q&A in the chat. Yeah, there's a reference there that I'm not getting it. There's a reference there that you're not getting. You don't get the reference of how do salt and pepper end up making a baby named Paprika.
It's a good question. This is the way I like to break this down. Biologically, spice biology is very different than human biology. I'm gonna blow your minds now, right?
Hey, ready?
Don't think of them as spices. Think of them as shakers. For we are all just vessels that contain our own unique flavor, our own unique spice. Everyone's soul is different. Some of us are cinnamony.
Cinnamony.
Some of us are
Peppery.
Some of us are salty.
Salty.
So if you think of them as mere vessels for their own unique flavors and personalities, it makes more sense.
Also, I was wondering if I could take a photo with you real quick.
I'm sorry, Rick.
Let's do it over there.
I also just came up with that.
So yeah, so that's the thing. He said we are all but shakers, and if you think about the way people are made, we all have different personalities. And my gosh, I loved the way he said that. Like, he said it so amazingly, and I loved it so much. So then this is where something crazy happened, okay? So this kid that had grabbed the chair, I think it was his turn next. He grabbed the chair.
Hello. Go
Hey
ahead.
there, my name's sorry, too close.
No, you're good.
My name's Christian,
Nope.
and I'm gonna go see them. Maybe Nick Jr. will do a crossover with another Nick Jr., but unlikely. Flaming lips.
Flaming lips.
All right, here we go. So
Steve.
you are about to see something, and see, I was two people behind this dude. This was the guy that grabbed the chair and was holding on to it. Spread your spice. Gross, Moose. No. Have I ever played Five Nights at Freddy's 1 and 2? Yes, I have, but I don't play it very often. And so this dude literally had the chair, and I just thought, oh, he's probably just tired of standing. Like, he grabbed it and had it over there with him. and was literally just like, he was probably just tired of standing. So this dude, what you're about to see is the reaction of both of these people and this dude right here when this kid sits down in the chair, grabs the microphone to ask questions. It's very, very intimidating, and it freaked me out, and it freaked everybody out. So just watch.
Well, let me just say this. I have so many questions.
Okay, so you see how they jumped? That's when this kid literally sat down in the chair. That is so intimidating. Don't do that. Like, you can see both of them are scared, and this dude right here is like, no, you're only asking one question. One question. I'm going live this Thursday because I won't be able to go live Friday or Saturday.
We got time for one.
What about two?
We do it quick, lightning round.
Okay, so where can I buy your t-shirt? Or not the t-shirt, the sweater thing. And,
Notice Steve said Amazon as quickly as he could. He wants this kid gone. He wants this kid away from the chair. Yeah. It's just not, it was so that, and see, this was not the host's fault at all. And this wasn't Steve's fault, and this wasn't this girl's fault. This kid decided he was going to sit his chair down and slam his butt down into the chair, which, as you saw, intimidated everybody on that stage. And then when he said, where can I buy your t-shirt or sweater? Steve immediately just answers Amazon. Like, he wants this kid's question and answer session to be over. You can see he's really got his legs really tight. Like, he even moved a little bit and jumped. Welcome back, Screech. And yeah, he wants this kid's Q&A over.
do you ever think that there could be a crossover with other TV shows with Blue's Clues? Amazon?
And not a chance. That's not the way kids TV works with licensing.
I'm holding my tears.
Maybe Nick Jr. will do a crossover with another Nick Jr., but unlikely.
So yeah, so he's like, Amazon and not a chance. Like, he's like, get this kid away. So instead of this kid who decided to grab the chair, you know, taking it back and putting it down, he just left it right there by the microphone. And there was this little girl behind me. Like, I feel like he thought that he was going to get away with sitting in that chair and taking the rest of the Q&A. Which, there was a girl behind me that was really, really salty. Just anytime somebody asked more than one question, she was like, only one question. Meh, 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 meh. But I honestly feel like this kid felt like he was going to take the rest of the Q&A. Like, he wanted to be the last question. Period. Even though behind him was his little sister, because he was talking to her. They knew each other. He was going to be the last question. Well, there's not much you can do. I mean, if somebody sits down, it could mean they have a health issue. You know, but yeah, it was totally just, I was scared, and you saw everybody jump. It was bad. All right, and then this little girl asked a question. I'm not going to put her question in there, but I will put Steve's answer. So she basically asked, she's going to ask him who drew the clues on set.
Different people drew those clues because people would quit. It was the hardest job on set was to draw those clues. We had professional animators and illustrators drawing those clues. It was by far the hardest thing that happened at that show. But I'm not super good at drawing, so I never contributed to any of the art or animation. But that was an excellent question. Good job, Evan.
So he didn't do any of the drawing of the clues in the show. They hired people to do that, and a lot of people quit because it was so hard. at this time when this little girl, which was a minor, so I didn't want to like have her voice on there, was getting ready to ask the question. You can see right here that so this kid just leaves the chair sitting there. You can see right here, this guy gets up to get the chair, but then he sits back down. He did that because I moved the chair out of the way. Because the kid didn't move the chair. The kid just walked off. And so I moved the chair out of the way so that this little girl could get to the mic and talk to Steve. And then I was really, really excited because I got to be the last question of the Q&A. So here we go. And I don't know how I managed to be the last person, but I am very grateful I got to. I'm very grateful I got to. And you'll see why in a minute.
But that was an excellent question.
Good job, Evan.
Great.
This is going to have to be our last question.
I'm sorry, guys, I talked too long.
No.
Come up to the table, I'll answer your question.
Absolutely. Go ahead.
I'm Pegasusangel, and you were talking about how they say don't meet your heroes, but I'm very grateful that I got to meet you this weekend.
Come on now.
Seriously, you are amazing. But I had a question. When you found out that Blue's Clues was getting rebooted, how psyched were you?
I mean, very. I mean, I was like, ooh, that's a good idea, you know? And I did immediately think. They asked me, they approached me, like, can you help us find Josh? And I'm like, yeah. I'll help you. And then when we were finding him, I was like, I really want to do this. I need to be back on screen. No one can do this but me. I got very territorial.
So basically what he's saying is after he found Josh, he's like, I got really territorial and decided I wanted to be back on screen again. And he writes and directs all of the remakes with Josh or the reboot with Josh in it. Yeah, I was the last question, best question. And I don't know how that happened because I thought the little girl was going to be the last question. I thought he was going to point to the little girl and be like, this is our last question. But no, he let me go up to the mic and ask my question, and I got to tell Steve how much of a hero he was to me. I mean, I had told him at the table, and I had told him that too, but this is the end of the Comic-Con, and I was like, I just want him to realize how much of a difference he's made in my life. No, I wasn't nervous at all. No. I wasn't nervous when I met Steve. I wasn't nervous. I'm weird. I don't get nervous around celebrities and stuff. I just don't. I could just talk to them forever without any issues.
Steve came back. When Steve came back, he was a detective now. He was like the world's worst detective.
The world's worst detective.
And I was also writing, so I'm like, and then Steve
Luna is cute.
So I was excited, and I gotta say, I have never enjoyed being Steve more than I do now. Because I get to be a detective now, and I have no responsibilities whatsoever. I just show up and I'm like, hey, what's going down? All right, you do all the hard stuff, Josh. See ya. It's such a blast. It's such a joy.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'm sorry I didn't answer your questions, guys.
So yeah, I was really blessed to be the last question, and I was so thankful because I didn't think I was going to get up there. There was some kind of divine intervention that happened where I was able to get up there, or the guy saw me move the chair after that obnoxious kid left it sitting there and decided that he was going to let my question be the last question. And at this time, this was the third time Steve had seen me. Because we went to his booth on the first day, then we went to his booth on the second day, and we did that video with him. And I got my Steve picture signed by him. And then we went to the Q&A panel, and I got in line. So Like, by that time, he knew who I was, kind of, and I think that's why you notice he isn't as guarded anymore after I go up to the mic, which I'm thankful for, because I felt so bad for him through this whole thing. Because, like I said, the MC let the 16-year-old on stage is dressed up like Blue, even though he didn't want that, and then this one kid just got super obnoxious and decided he was just going to set his chair down, didn't care where, because he thought he was going to take up the whole entire Q&A panel, which was ridiculous, honestly. And I moved it, and I am still very thankful that I got to tell Steve how much he means to me. And I really hope that one day he stumbles across my YouTube channel and, you know, or looks for the video, because I think I was the, you know, my name is very unique. So, like, he remembered Nano from yesterday. He remembered Nano from Saturday. And, so when I told him I'm Pegasusangel, my name is really unique. You know, yet to meet a celebrity. Maybe one day I will meet one. Oh, you will. You will. Someday you will. You just have to be in the right place at the right time. So now we're going to talk a bit about the cosplay contest, which, okay. I'm pulling this up because we're going to watch this in a minute. All right. So, I got to be in the cosplay contest. My wig was a mess. It was terrible. There were a lot of good cosplays there. They had a masquerade, which is for people who didn't hand make their cosplays. Martin and Chris from Wildcrats, yes. The cosplay contest was awesome. So we got there really early because I wanted to be in the cosplay contest, you know. So I did. I managed to get there in time to sign up to be in the masquerade cosplay contest. They took like a professional picture of me in my cosplay that I could buy if I wanted to. I didn't really buy it. I didn't need it. I was more interested in getting the autographs of the people, you know, than buying any kind of cosplay picture. Plus, by this time, I had already, like, I literally spent probably about $700 on the Comic-Con for everything I got, because there were so many people there I wanted to meet. So then they separated us by groups. They separated the kids. They separated the masquerade, which were the people that didn't hand make their costume, but instead bought their costume and added it. Yes. Thank you guys for the hearts and the 100s and all that stuff. And then I got to go. I was number 6 in line. So I was pretty close to the front of the masquerade. And it was really interesting because I felt like a freaking celebrity. Like, I'm not even kidding. I felt like a freaking celebrity. Hello, Shaker! Welcome to the stream. So I walk up to the stage, and the guy is like, the MC is like, I don't know how to pronounce your name, Pega, and then he's like, here, let me just give you the mic and you can say it. One of the judges knew who I was. I don't know how they knew who I was or where they had seen me, because they were all in cosplay at this point. I'm assuming that they had been at somebody's booth that I went to and said my name. But, yeah, one of the judges said Pegasusangel. And the guy's like, Pegasusangel? I'm like, yes, my name's Pegasusangel. And also, there was a guy that was in the Caitlin Glass Q&A that I went to, who was also emceeing, and he knew who I was. And because I actually got to ask Caitlin Glass, like, what she would say to people who were thinking about joining the voiceover industry, and how she got to become a part of, I guess Skip Beat got an English dub. And so now I'm frantically looking around trying to find it, because I want to watch it. Because Caitlin Glass plays Kyoko, the main character of Skip Beat, in the English dub. Aw, that sucks, Shaker. I'm sorry. So anyway, so it was really funny because it's like I went up there and like 3 people knew exactly who I was. 2 of the judges said Pegasusangel. The MC who was like introducing us and our character said Pegasusangel. And the MC on the other side who was like just standing there as a secondary MC, he's like, I don't know how to say your name, so I'm just going to give you the mic. But then the judge was like, Pegasusangel. Another one said, Pegasusangel, right? And then the guy with the long hair was like, Pegasusangel. I remember you. I'm like, yeah, Pegasusangel. Pegasusangel, that's who I am. I felt like a freaking celebrity. Like, all these judges knew me for some reason, and I don't know why. So, I get on stage, and, like, we weren't allowed to really say anything in character. We just had to do things in character. So, you know, I went on stage. I faced out to the crowd after he said, Pegasusangel as Frisk from Undertale. And I've looked around. I was trying to find the Missouri Comic-Con cosplay contest for 2024, but nobody's posted it yet. The only one they have is the one from 2023. And so basically I went up on stage, faced everybody, big smile, heart. And then as I walked off the stage, I gave everybody a peace sign. And the guy told me as I walked off the stage, wow, you did really well. Because I guess I have a pretty good stage presence. I don't know. So that was really neat. And then you had like this one kid who dressed up like Wally. There was one guy who was on stilts. There was a girl that dressed up that had made a Sylveon cosplay. And she had made it. And it was the cutest thing I had ever seen. And then, of course, the group of One Piece pirates were there. And, yeah, it was really crazy. My cat just went in heat yesterday. She goes into heat about once a month for about 3 to 4 days. You were a gnarly-looking Klingon. Speaking of that, Shaker, I know you'll appreciate this. Where are my Trek fans at, man? Yeah, Sylveon's my favorite evolution too, or evolution too. But yeah, there were a lot of amazing costumes there, but the ones that stood out to me was the Sylveon, the family that was One Piece, and then the Wally that had taken 3 months to make. And it was amazing. I mean, I could go on and I could talk about that. No, it's a picture of Star Trek. You've got Michelle Hurd, Gates McFadden, and Todd. Captain Shaw got done so dirty. Is that who this one is? No, I said any of my Trek fans. T-R-E-K. Trek. Trek. I know I'm not very good at pronouncing words. So yeah, and then for anybody who hasn't seen this yet, this was my picture from Steve. Yeah, I heard that his ship got taken over by Picard from my dad. We got that professional picture taken because my dad wanted to go to meet them, but he wasn't able to because there's a lot of stuff going on right now with him. I'm not going to go into details. That's on, but yeah. So we got that picture, and that photo op cost a lot of money. But I'm not going to talk about how much because if my dad watches this back later, I don't want him to know. So yeah, Star Trek: The Next Generation, and they were also on Picard and Strange New Worlds and things like that. So yeah. But anyway, so he was talking about in the Q&A that I was telling you about that I showed you with Steve, the parts that I could show you. The music video he had to film with the cast. And I can't really show much of it because I'm sure I will get copyright claimed. But it shows you that the original cast will show up in the reboot a lot. So let me just get it turned on for a minute. I don't want to get copyright claimed, so I can only play a few seconds of it. But as you can see, you've got Steve here, you've got Joe here, you got Josh, and then you've got Blue. 3D animated Blue.
For every clue in every song, someone's been there all along.
See? So that's pretty cute. That's the song he was talking about, the music video that he made with the cast of Blue's Clues. Does anyone know Pac-Man Ghostly Adventures? I don't. I used to watch it, but I haven't watched it in a while. So yeah, that was basically my Comic-Con adventure summed up as quickly as I possibly could. If anybody has any questions, feel free to ask, like for real. I am all ears for any questions you guys might have. I do, the pack is back. But like I said, freaking Michelle Hurd was so sweet, and I really wish I could have met her. You play Pac-Man? Nice. I really wish I could have met Michelle Hurd. I really do. Would I recommend going to Comic-Con? Yes. 100%. There's some things you need to know, though, before you go to Comic-Con, which I kind of talked about a little bit, but there are some things you need to know before you go to your first ever Comic-Con. Depending on where the Comic-Con is, it is likely to be very, very crowded. So if you have a really, really bad social anxiety, make sure you know where the exits are or where there's places you can go to take a breather when you need it. Because Springfield, Missouri Comic-Con, you know, it was crowded, but after being to a Comic-Con like Atlanta, Georgia, AWA, Springfield, Missouri Comic-Con was tame compared to AWA. So does Steve. Steve actually says he has social anxiety. He actually stated it on the stage for the Q&A. And my sister, she also has some social anxiety. There were a couple times when I had to lead her out of a room and get her somewhere where there was no one around. All right, see you later, Figgy. Much love. Much love, Figgy. If you've been to LA and you managed to be okay with LA, I think you would be fine going to any Comic-Con, because I think LA is probably one of the biggest Comic-Cons in the United States. That or Texas. Yeah. So here's what you need to know. Comic-Con, they don't allow outside food or drinks. Well, at least the one I went to didn't. So what you want to do is you want to get there about an hour early so you can park as close to the Comic-Con as possible, so that when you need a drink of water, you can run out to your car and get a drink of water when needed. Make sure you are keeping your eye on the schedule all the time. Squirrel! Because, yeah, you need to keep your eye on the schedule. Like, my weekend was literally bam, 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 bam. That's what my weekend was. So we got our thing signed by Steve on Saturday, and then after Steve got done signing our stuff, we had to run across the street for Caitlin Glass's Q&A panel after I went and saw Caitlin Glass. And then, so, like, Steve was the first thing we went to. The Comic-Con opened its doors at 10 on Saturday. We didn't get to actually interact with Steve until about 11:45, 12 o'clock on Saturday because of how far back in the line we were. And we got there early, too. Like, we got there early. But we had to walk across the street to get our weekend wristbands for registration. And then we had to walk back over to the the expo center in Missouri, in Springfield, Missouri. So of course the first line we went to was Steve, because I knew his was going to be one of the longer lines. And then about 12, we finally got everything signed. We told him thank you, you know. We talked to him. We let him know how much we appreciated his videos. And then I grabbed Nano. I'm like, okay, let's go get Caitlin Glass's autograph. So we ran over to Caitlin Glass. Her line was a little bit long as well. We got there about 12:15 for her. And then at 12:45, she had photo ops. So, they gave us a line voucher ticket. Her Q&A was like at 2, I think. It was at like I think it was 1:30 to 2:30. And so we gave our line vouchers once she came back, which was about 1 o'clock, and got her to sign our things. And then we ran across the street to the main stage area, which was like a small building attached to the hotel where we got our registration for the Caitlin Glass Q&A. Then she did like a selfie. We did a selfie with everybody. There was the voice of Goku there and the voice of SpongeBob. But he had only certain when I got... Yeah, they only have a certain amount of time unless their booth is completely empty, which rarely happens. But at Springfield, it does happen a lot because there's not as many people there as there would be at like LA or Atlanta, Georgia, you know, things like that. So after Caitlin Glass's Q&A, there was something else we wanted to do. Oh, we went to go get Gates McFadden's autograph for one of Nano's friends. And talked to Gates McFadden for a bit. She's a really sweet lady, super sweet. Her booth wasn't that full when we got there, so we could talk to her for a little bit. And I told her kind of about how my family and I would watch Star Trek every time it came on, and I would just be sitting on the floor Indian style when Star Trek Next Generation came on, and she thought that was really cool. She's like, I was so glad to be a part of that, and I'm so glad to be a part of what I am now, you know. So we went to Gaze McFadden to get the thing for for Nano's friend. And then by then it was probably about 3:30 or 4, and we hadn't eaten anything. And Nano didn't eat any breakfast. And so Nano and I walked over to Firehouse Subs and ate lunch there. And then walked back over to the Comic-Con, and we sat in her car for a little bit because she was at the point where she was almost conned out for the day. She definitely was. Nano was at the point where she was almost conned out for the day, but the thing is, I had signed up for that costume contest, and that wasn't until 5, and I had to show up and line up by 4:30. So we sat in Nano's car until about 4:15, and then we went to the costume cosplay contest, and then we did that, and then we left. And we dropped the picture off at Nano's friend's house, and then we went home for the night. The Comic-Con on Sunday started at 11. So I slept until about 9 so I could get ready. I didn't really dress up in cosplay that day, so I just kind of, you know, combed my hair, put it up in a ponytail, decided whether I was going to wear my Sylveon headband or not, chose against wearing it. And then we stood outside the doors leading to Steve. And we got there before the doors opened, and when the doors were getting ready to open, people were counting down. It was like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then everybody's like, woo, when the doors opened. It was really great. And so then we immediately went to Steve's booth, and we were lucky enough to be like some of the first 5 people to get there. But Steve hadn't gotten there yet because they still hadn't transported him from the hotel. And so Sean Astin came before Steve, and he saw everybody in Steve's booth, and we were all, you know, screaming and hollering at him and waving at him, and he waved back and pointed at us, and, you know, just really seemed like a really awesome guy. I didn't get to meet him, though. And then Steve, like, at around 11:45, I went to the person that was, you know, taking care of Steve's booth, and I'm like, Do you know about how much longer it'll be till Steve gets here? Because I have a photo op shoot with the Star Trek trio at 12:45, and she's like, "Oh, he'll be here soon. You'll get your stuff signed before then." And so finally, once he got there, we got to talk to him. We did the video. We got our stuff signed, and then Nano and I ran over to the photo op area so that we could get our picture. See, I got this on Sunday. And this was right before we ran over to the photo op booth to get this picture with the Star Trek cast. So it was literally bam, bam, bam. And then I was like, okay, Nano, here's what we need to do. I know you're not a big Andy Black fan, but if you want to have a good seat for Steve's Q&A, since his is right after Andy Black, then we need to just walk over across the street and sit in on the rest of Andy Black's Q&A. And we did. And then when they finished Andy Black's Q&A, people started lining up at the mic for Steve's, and I ran. Like, I literally ran over there, and I was like 8th or 9th in line. I'm not sure which. So we didn't know whether I was actually going to get to ask a question or not, because we only had an hour for me to ask the question. And then they did another, after all that, after I got to ask the question, which was a blessing. I didn't expect that to happen. After all that, they had a selfie that they took with us, and everybody, like, they took a selfie so they could post it on the Missouri Comic Con social media. Everybody crammed in to be in that selfie, and I wasn't able to put my arm around Nano to kind of keep space at that time because of where she was and where I was. And then she needed out of there after the selfie. And so we sat on the stage for a bit. The guy was really nice. You know, he's like, here's the deal. That door right there is shut, but it's not locked. It's the least crowded place you can go right now. Because she's like, are the people gone? Are the people gone? I'm like, well, there's people behind us lining up for the Q&A for Grey DeLise, who, if you don't know who that is, that's the person that plays a lot of Nickelodeon characters. But then the guy, the MC, really sweet guy, which is why I don't want to get him in trouble, but I do think that was a lapse in judgment, letting a fan up on stage. Was like, there's a door right there. Go through that door. It's not locked. It's open. There's an empty room right across from it. Go in there. Chill out, you know. So by that time, Nano was done after the selfie with Steve. And so what we did was, I'm like, if you want to go to your car, you can, but maybe we should go to the convention center just to see if it's less crowded now that Grey DeLise is doing their Q&A. And that was like the biggest Q&A of the day. It was like the last Q&A of the day on the main stage. So they expected a lot of people there. And so we went in, and I was like, okay, is it too crowded for you? She's like, no, not yet. And then I'm like, okay. So what about this? We went downstairs, and there was a table. There was no other people around. There was one person sitting at the table. One person. You're good, Phantom. You're good. And I was like, are you okay sitting here for a little bit while I go try and see if I can't sneak some free autographs from the Star Trek crew, since this costs so much money to get. And she's like, yeah, I'm okay sitting here. I'm all right sitting here for now. So what I did was I went into the Comic-Con. I knew where the Star Trek people had been. And I went over there, and I noticed that their tables had trash cans on them and had empty trash cans on them. Their little banners that said who they were had been taken down. And so I went over to the booth next to Todd's, and it was Grey DeLise's booth, and she's like, I'm sorry, she's in a Q&A right now, but I can give you a line voucher. And I'm like, no, I was just wondering, did the Star Trek people already leave? And she's like, yeah, I think they did. It looks like they already left. And I'm like, aw, darn, okay. Because I wanted to go meet the rest of them. I got to meet Gates McFadden yesterday, but they had already left when I got there for the second point. But, like, you know, Steve Burns' Q&A was, like, number one on our priority list, and that's what we did. And then I was gonna go stand in line with the girl that voices Sonia Nevermind and Kyoko in the Danganronpa series games, but the line was too long, and I decided, it's time to go home. Because by that, I wasn't really conned out. Like, I was super excited. Like, I enjoyed the whole entire con. It's just by that time, the line was so long, I'm like, I really don't want to stay here any longer than 30 more minutes because I knew that Nano wanted to get home. I wanted to get home. So I went back out when I noticed that, her line was so long, and I said, all right, Nano, let's go. And we went to Hardee's for lunch, and that was about 3:30, 4 o'clock, and then we drove home. But yeah, it was definitely worth it. And yeah, if you do come to a Comic-Con, remember outside food and drinks are probably not going to be allowed. So keep a bottle of water in your car at all times, and make sure you park as close as you can to the Comic-Con area so that you can run your car anytime you're going to a different panel or whatever. And get some water, because staying hydrated is important. Also, make sure you have any kind of medicine you might need, like Tylenol, Aleve, an emergency inhaler, just in case, because you never know when something's going to happen where you're going to have to, because, like, walking around as much as you're going to have to do is bound to make your muscles and bones hurt a lot. So have Tylenol, Aleve, and if you have, like, asthma, make sure you have your emergency inhaler on you. If you have anxiety medicine that you can take whenever you're having an anxiety attack, have that with you, because if you don't have that with you, it can really cause a lot of issues if you have really bad social anxiety. Do not touch the celebs without asking permission. Do not post pictures of the celebs without asking permission. Do not post videos of the celebs without asking permission. For the prints and the autographs, it's okay to post those without asking permission of the celeb, but I feel like videos and pictures with them, you should ask permission. You should never, ever, like, just run up and hug them. You should always ask permission, because like I said, when I asked Steve if he was okay with me giving him a hug, he said, no, I've been getting sick a lot lately, and I'm like, okay, I understand that. And then he let us do fist bumps instead, which was really nice. And don't not only bring lots of money. Make sure you look ahead of time at the guests you want the autographs for, so that you kind of know where you're going. Because if you don't know where you're going, then you're gonna be so unorganized. So make sure you look at the guests that are coming and decide what guests you want autographs of, what guests you want to meet, and kind of figure out the time, like look at the schedule, figure out the time and everything on that. And make sure that you not only just bring money. Like, a lot of the celebrities take cash only for autographs and things. So make sure you have enough cash for the celebrities you want autographs from, just in case they don't have a debit card machine. But still take your debit card, because a lot of Comic-Cons will have ATM machines on site. Unfortunately, the Comic-Con that I went to, the ATM machine was empty. And so I ended up having to go into my debit card, which luckily there were a lot of booths, especially Steve Burns' booth, that accepted debit cards and credit cards. So make sure you have not only cash, but a debit card. Make sure you have an idea of who you want to see. Make sure you have an idea of what panels and stuff you want to attend on the, in the con. And make sure that you have a debit card with you and water somewhere nearby, because you're going to need it, and your medicine. And last but not least, also stay away from the vendors. Like, legit, stay away from the vendors if you can. If you have certain, like, you need to budget. Like, if you have certain celebrities that you want autographs from, you put that first priority. That is your first priority. Vendors are a secondary priority. Yes, there's a lot of amazing art and a lot of neat things, but I, for one, if I were to stay in a vendor's booth too long, I would find a button or a pin or something that I would really want, and I would end up buying it and going over my budget. So, but the vendors do take, most of the vendors do take credit card. But yeah, just make sure you don't do the vendors until you get your autographs. And make sure you know your schedule, because like I said, literally I talked about my whole schedule and where all we went and how we did everything we got to do. It was just bam, 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 bam. So after Steve's Q&A, I went and I got Pocahontas's autograph for one of my friends. And then I went to ask if the Star Trek people were still available for autographing, and they said no. And then I saw how long the line was, and I was like, you know what? We need to go home. We need to eat some supper. Luckily, Nano had breakfast on Sunday, thank goodness. So we didn't have to worry too much about lunch and supper then. But yeah, so that was my whole entire Comic-Con adventure. It was a lot of fun. I really appreciate you guys sitting here and listening to me chat and, you know, just fangirl about everything that happened. It was a blast. It was a blast. And if you guys have any more questions, I still have like 10 more minutes before I have to go to work. So if you have any more questions, feel free to ask. I know, Luna. You've got my headphones wrapped around you. Okay. I'm trying to get the headphones not wrapped around you, baby. There we go. But if nobody has any other questions, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you guys so much for listening to me rant. I really appreciate it. You guys are amazing. If I could meet one voice actor, who would it be? Oh my gosh, there's so many. There are so many. I think... Oh... Can I have the extension of saying more than one voice actor that I want to meet? Because I really want to meet Bill Rogers in person. I really want to meet J. Michael Tatum in person. Hey, Luna. Moose is asking a question. You want to hear it? Okay. There's your answer, Moose. I want to meet Todd Habercorn, J. Michael Tatum, Bill Rogers. I want to meet the person, oh gosh, Tanya, no, I don't remember her name. But she voices a lot of early anime characters like Toru from Fruits Basket. I want to meet her, and she's actually at the Kansas City Con that I can't go to. And yeah, those are some of the voice actors I really would like to meet. Those are probably... Yeah, those are probably the... Well, and I'd like to meet the dude that plays L. And I'd also like to meet the guy that played Kokichi in Danganronpa, the video game. Who's my favorite live-action movie star that I would love to meet? I don't really have a favorite live-action movie star, but I do have a favorite live TV series star I'd like to meet. I would love to meet Ryder Strong, and I would love to meet Anthony Tyler Quinn in person. And I'm so mad because the Kansas City Con that happens in March, Ryder Strong, Danielle Fishel, and Will Friedle are going to be there. And I can't go because it costs too much money. The tickets are like $100. When in doubt, Keanu Reeves, no. But I do want to meet Sean because I want to let him know how much watching him on Boy Meets World when I was growing up meant to me, just kind of like I did with Anthony Tyler Quinn when he did the cameo. You know, telling him just how much he meant to me and how much I looked up to him as a hero. Just like I did with Steve, where I was able to be like, I am so glad I got to meet you this weekend. I'm really grateful that I got to meet one of my heroes this weekend, you know. And then you heard everybody in the background, aww, you know, like it's the cutest thing ever. But yeah, that would be who I'd want to meet. I would want to meet Ryder Strong and Anthony Tyler Quinn. They say he's like the Steve of action movies. Yes, childhood show actors are the greatest. And if this person was still alive, I would like to meet them too. But they're not still alive, but I really wish I could meet John Dye from Touched by an Angel. And I always, always wanted to meet Robin Williams. So those are the two people that are not still alive that I didn't get to meet, which is really kind of sad. But yeah. So yeah, that would be who I'd want to meet if I could. My hair is a freaking mess. I am so sorry, guys. I combed it. I swear I did. But it doesn't look like I did. It just looks like a mess. Any other questions before I end stream? Oh, yes, and also Tom Hanks. I would love to meet Tom Hanks in person. And Tim Allen. So I guess I do have a couple live movie stars I'd like to meet. But mostly I want to meet, like, TV series that I grew up watching that gave me a sense of comfort. He voices Woody, yes. And, you know, Steve was talking about how a lot of times he likes to listen to music that will help him feel things in the Q&A. And, again, it's pinned in the chat for anybody who wants to watch the full thing all the way through. There's a snake in my boot. But it was definitely interesting. It was really, really a fun time. I was glad to do it. And I do remember him saying that about the music, and I remember, like, I talked about it a little bit earlier about how with dissociative identity disorder, I don't always feel any of my feelings. It's the other personalities that feel the feelings, which is rough. Order of magnitude more work voicing. Yes. Yeah, I knew Tom Hanks' brother did a lot of voicing of Woody, especially in, like, Kingdom Hearts and video games. But he does a good job. They both sound pretty similar, truthfully. But yes. Anyway, it is now officially 9:10. I'm going to end it here for now, guys. Look forward to a short coming out tomorrow. I'm just going to randomly select one that I sent to myself that I thought would be a good one. Yeah. Oh, and speaking of creators, I would love to meet, I'd love to meet the guy that created Phineas and Ferb. Dan Povenmire. Yep. I would love to meet him as well. But yeah, I'm going to end it here for now, guys. Please hit the like button on this stream. Check out that link that I posted in chat. I will also post it below because it is the full Q&A that I was in the Missouri Comic-Con with Steve Burns, and there's a lot of interesting things he said, and I think you would really enjoy it. I didn't record it. It was somebody else who recorded it, and so yeah. Definitely check out the reboot of Blue's Clues, but first you have to watch Blue's Clues Big New York City Adventure, just so you kind of know what's going on. Because when you watch the reboot, it's kind of like you were already supposed to see the movie before the reboot. And you'll understand what I mean if you watch the movie and then start watching the seasons in order. But yeah, thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you guys for listening to me rant and nerd out about my time at Missouri Comic Con. I really appreciate it. And as always, much love, everybody. Mwah! Come out there, go spread some love and positivity today, because you never know who needs it. And I will be posting some random short that I find tomorrow for you guys, since I have counseling. Or therapy, and I won't be able to go live because I'll have to sleep after therapy because I don't get home until like 1:30. But I do hope you all have a good Valentine's Day. Sending lots of love and hearts your way. Get yourself some half-price chocolate whenever the 15th rolls around. Make sure you get yourself some half-price chocolate. That's the best part of Valentine's Day. But yeah, I will see you guys later. Have a good rest of the night, and much love to you all. Bye, everyone!